Well, here we are, and I wanted to talk today about a sale that's coming up in Italy, in Milan, in 2 weeks. And it is it's a first-time auction by a guy that I've known for about 10 years. He's a friend, and his name is Carlo Santi. And in the company he started just recently in Italy is called Marcopolo Auctions. And if you come to the website, you'll find him on the homepage. And we're sort of giving him a little nudge because he's a new auction house and he's gotten some very nice things. And I want him to do well. And this is over on the newsletter page. We've added a little bit in there for him. Normally, we just have eBay on there and things like that in the videos. But I wanted to give him a little bit of a plug because he's a terrific guy. He's got he's got a long time in the business, and this is what we do for our friends. And I consider him a friend. And this is Carlo. His name is Carlo Santi. He's a great guy. Many of you probably know him. If you're in Europe, you know him. If you've been around Katowice or gone to any of some of the auctions in Italy, you'll know Carlo. But a while ago, he contacted me and said he wanted to start his own auction business, and I encouraged him to do it because, as many of you know, I was an auctioneer for over 20 years and handled a lot of estates, and he finds it very attractive for him. And he's put together what I think is a really outstanding first-time auction. And I want to go through some of the lots just to sort of show folks what Carlo's been up to for the last couple of months. All the information for the sale is on the website. These images are all linked to his site, and you'll have no trouble getting through and getting all the particulars. So this is the sale. And if you scroll down to the page, you're going to come to the items. And there's a lot of stuff on here, a lot of good material. There's some very nice Republic wares. There's quite a bit of porcelain, jades, coral jades. We're going to talk about those a little bit. There's some very fine white jades on here, and including some Qinlong examples that he's managed to secure for the sale, and a lot of other material. So let's just get to it, okay? The first thing I wanted to mention, those of you that are interested in silks, is a very nice 18th century silk roundel. Here it is with a dragon on it, and it's been mounted with this beautiful brocade fabric. It's about 12 inches in diameter, but it's a nice old example. Beautifully done, and the dragon, of course, is styled very much in the manner that you see on Qinlong porcelains all the time. Very, very typical. All right, and then and it's estimated at 8 to 1,200 euros, which is perfectly reasonable. And of course, a lot of these things are going to be very easy to ship. So if you're outside of Italy, you won't have any trouble because the costs should be fairly reasonable due to their sizes. All right, there are a few big pieces, but most of them are quite shippable. And then you have this really attractive pair of Republic period yellow exterior enamel bowls with blue and white interiors. These are quite lovely, and it's a pair. They're estimated at 3,000 to 4,000 euros with a 2,000 euro opening bid, but the quality is outstanding on these. And as many of us have seen in the past, when they do these Republic period dishes, they put the Yongchen mark on it and the square seal. And that's pretty typical. But Carlos looked at it and said it's a pair of Republic bowls, but they're beautifully done, beautifully enameled, and they have these. They go from having this yellow and blue as such complementary colors. So you go from the yellow exteriors, which are very nicely enameled, and then you have these very finely detailed blue interiors with Shao characters and so forth on the inside. These are really nice bowls, and it's a pair. All right, and as we all know, Republic material is quite popular these days. If I had to sort of narrow down the dating on them, I'd say the Republic period, as you know, ran from 1912 to 1949. These look like they were done pretty close to the end of the Guangxu period, probably around 1915 to 1920. And then over to this, the snuff bottle. It's a beautiful coral snuff bottle. The carving on it is great. The graining in the coral is very, very good. This is high quality coral. Beautiful, beautiful color. The color is excellent and the carving is excellent all the way through. The estimate is reasonable, $1,200 to $1,600 with a $1,000 opening bid. But that's what good quality coral goes for. He's got them dated as late 19th century. They look a little older to me than that to me. They look like they're more likely first half of the 19th century, but his opinion was late 19th, so we'll go with that. All right. And then there's this, another good-looking bottle. And this has a very reasonable estimate, but it's that relief work carved biscuit, unglazed biscuit ware, with trees on a shoreline and a body of water in the middle, but nicely done bit of biscuit ware. And this is a whole separate group of porcelain. You don't see a lot of unglazed biscuit ware around in porcelain of any kind. It was made, obviously, brush pots and so forth, but it's pretty unusual to see it in a snuff bottle. It's got a very modest estimate. It's 19th century, 400 to 600 euro estimate with a 350 euro opening bid. If you're a snuff bottle buyer, you know that's a very good deal. And then over to this, the big Dwan stone with a cloisonné or enamel stand on it. This is very, very nice. If you're not familiar with Dwan stone is a type of rock that is actually taken from a volcanic rock. And it layers itself naturally over when it settles. And what the Chinese carvers would do is they would go in and they would carve it away and take advantage of the light areas, like here, to create an image. Okay, it's basically an intaglio technique. And this is a rather nice one, and it has this amazing enamel stand with it in blue and white. Absolutely great. The stand looks like it's probably a late Qing example. The stone is probably a bit earlier. I suspect the stone was made, and then somebody had went to the trouble in the late 19th century to have a stand made for it, because the stone looks like it was carved probably around the mid 19th century. But a very nice example, reasonably estimated at 3,000 to 4,000 euros. These typically bring 5,000 to 8,000. And with this, without the stand, throw the stand in, and you could do even better. The opening bid is 2,500 euros, which is perfectly fine because it's going to bring that. I find his estimates interesting. They're sort of like real world, realistic estimates of what things are likely to bring, and his starting bids are pretty much indicative that there's not a lot of giant reserves in this sale. And then this, the carved jade elephant, dated to the Qianlong period. This is a really nice carving. And if you come over to the site, you just scroll on the image and you can enlarge it all you want and look at the details. But notice the really fine, shallow relief work here of the clouds and bats and so forth. You have this nice inclusion in the stone that they've managed to work in. And then you have these two boys on the top surrounding a who-formed vase. One of them is holding a rue scepter. I can't tell what the other boy has in his hand. It looks like it might be a long-stemmed gourd of some kind. But a very nice piece of jade, and I think the estimate's pretty low. The estimate is just $5,000 to $8,000, 5,000 to 8,000 euros with a 5,000 euro opening bid. It should bring more than that. It should bring 15,000 to 20,000 at least. I think the estimate is very, very low on this, but it's beautifully carved. Here's another shot of it. He's got some very good photographs. That's the one thing that Carlo likes, is good photographs. And he obviously went to considerable lengths to make sure they're good, clear, and there are plenty of them. And you can get more if you need them. I talked with him the other day, and he's very excited about the sale. And then this is an outstanding jade sculpture of a crane clutching a peach branch. Beautifully done, nicely polished. And if you look in here, you can see the surface. And this is the kind of surface you want to see. Nicely done, good details around the eyes. This is a red-headed crane, and they show the red-headed area by all this very fine cross-hatching up top. But this is a nice looking piece of jade, and the undercut areas are beautifully finished. This is one of the things when you look at jades, you want to check the undercuts. You want to look at the areas beneath, behind things that are carved, underneath the leaves, behind the stems. Those are the things you really want to look for when you're examining jades. And I looked at this one very, very carefully. I think it's a super piece of jade. Estimated at 3,000 to 5,000 euros. And it's got a beautiful wooden stand too. The stand is exceptional. I think it's going to blow the estimate out. It should. It should bring $10,000 to $15,000, but it's a very, very good piece of jade. And then this, the bowl, 18th century bowl in yellow with a Jade mark on the bottom. And he's dating it to 18th century. I haven't spent a lot of time looking at it. It could be a little bit older, but very fine quality enameling work, a nice looking dragon, Ming dragon on there, those sort of goofy looking dragons. And the interior of the bowl looks absolutely fine. Here's the interior. Pop this up here. There it is. And that's what it should look like, a deep egg yolk color. There's some pooling of glaze in here, sort of thickening. The rim looks good. I don't see any chips or cracks. Nice looking piece of porcelain. Estimated at 3,500 to 4,000 euros. With a 3,500 euro opening bid. Should get there. And then this is one of the main featured items of the lot, is this Jade lime green ground famille rose vase with lobed sections. It's a lobed vase, but very nicely done. Very, very nicely done. Really fine quality. You can pull it in all the way, get a good look at it. There's a slight hint of crackle in the glaze, which is something you do see on these. And the shading is excellent. And if you go back and you come over here, you can pull up the bottom of it. Let's see if we get, there we go. There's the base. Absolutely, it looks absolutely fine to me. A very, very nice vase, and I think the estimate is very low on this. So we'll see where it goes. But if you're a Qinlong or a Jiaqing or a Daoguan enamel buyer, you want to check this vase out. It's 23 centimeters tall, or a little over 8 inches, and it's about just a hair under 10 inches tall. Extremely nice. He's done it. Also, you'll notice in here, a lot of the stuff, some of the pages in here translate into English. Some of them don't. For some reason, you check your Google translator. If you can turn it on, do it. Otherwise, just run over to the translate section on Google. Well, where is it? Let's see here. Oh, I took it down. All right, never mind. You can go to translate, and you can cut and paste it in there. It'll tell you what it says. It's not that hard to do. It's very simple. I'll show you how to do it. Let's do that. Let's just do that. I'm gonna copy. We'll copy the title. Let's start with the title. I don't know. Maybe most of you know how to do this. Some of you might have not ever done it before. And if you go over to Google and you type in translate, it'll pull up a page that'll let you drop in a text over here that you're trying to learn more about. Here it says detect language, and there it is. Premium rare imperial lobated vase in famille rose porcelain lime green ground, Hai Chen Ping, China marked Jiaqing, and period. Okay, there it is. All right, that's how you do it. Hold on, we get back over to the vase. There we go. The estimate on the vase is $15,000 to $20,000, or 15,000 to 20,000 euros, which seems very reasonable. It seems very low. Vases like this in the past, we've seen them sell, and they bring $80,000 to $100,000. So we'll see how this one does, or 50 to 70,000. I probably should say, it's a little more closer. But this is a good-looking piece of porcelain, and it appears to be in excellent condition. It doesn't mean you shouldn't ask for condition reports. You should, but just saying. And then this, a Yongchen Marken period dragon bowl. Very unusual. We've seen these in enamels before. They did them in Dalsai enamels and so forth. It's almost identical drawing. This one is just in cobalt blue, but very subtle, nicely painted. The interior is painted as well. There's the interior with dragons and a spiraling pearl device in the middle, not the sun, the pearl, and so forth. It measures about 4 inches in diameter, estimated at 2,000 to 3,000 euros with a 2,000 euro starting bid. And then this is one of the most unusual pieces in the sale. It is, as many of you recognize, it's a Kangxi charger. It's a Kangxi dish. This dish is 51 centimeters in diameter, according to the description, which means it's over 20 inches wide. This is a giant, and it's armorial. This is a giant piece of Kangxi ware, beautifully painted in the Amari palette. Very, very nicely done. It looks like it's in good condition, from what I can see. There's a whole write-up on it in here, estimated at $800 to $1,200. Now, what's this say? Consolo? Is it restored? Let's take a look. Let's see what this says. Probably been old. Okay, the Ovalt's coat of arms. Okay, that's he's describing the coat of arms. Okay, I didn't know if it was a condition report or what it was he was doing. Um, Here it is. So it is. It's a corker of a charger. It should do much more than 8 to 1,200 euros. It is, if it's 51 centimeters, the 10-inch version of this dish brings about 8 to 1,200. So if this is 51 centimeters, expect it to bring 4 to 6,000 euros, 5 to 7,000 euros. If it goes for under that, you got a bargain. All right, but this is a beast of a charger. You do not see Kangxi chargers this big very often at all. You see them in museums, but that's about it. Last time I think we had a Kangxi charger turn up at an auction this big was about 4 or 5 years ago. I think it was at Sotheby's. You'd have to check it, but I think that's where it was. And I think it brought a lot of money. All right, and then this is one of the gems of the sale, and it's a very unusual item. It's a lamp, and here's the base at the bottom. It's Qianlong period. Here's the upper section connected by chains. It is superbly well decorated. We can get it to come back into the picture. Hold on a second. I don't know what I did. I'm not very good with some of these maneuvering some of these buttons. Sometimes there we go. It is crisply painted, and on the bottom, this is a little bit of orange peel in here, which is fine. It looks like it's in great condition. Has very finely repeat patterns of bats, and then the Greek key border around it. And this is the underside of the lid, where it would go over the flame. This beautiful piece of porcelain. Do not put a candle under this if you buy it. You'll wreck the enamels. This has never been used as a lantern, from what I can see. It looks absolutely authentic. I was shocked to see this. These pieces are very, very, very rare. This is a really rare thing, and the estimate is peanuts, 2 to 3,000 euros. It should blow that to bits. Expected to bring 15 to 20,000 euros. But it's just a wonderful looking piece of porcelain. Really is. Here's a good clear. She's got a very nice clear shots of the different sections, and it looks like this was an imperial porcelain. They just didn't bother marking, because this is not the kind of thing you see very often at all. All right, just a great piece of porcelain. The shading of the famille rose enamels, all that. It's just great. It's just great. All right, and then moseying along over to this, a very nice piece of signed by Dajing Men Quanzhan porcelain, done in the 19th century, 1880s or so. And it's interesting because Carlo actually wrote a paper for us once on our website, and you can go find it on Quanjing wares and stuff. He did a whole study on it and compared it to European art and the different tastes. It's really interesting story. And here's an example of it. So I'm not surprised somebody brought this to him, because he is sort of known for these Quanzhang pieces, and he knows a lot about them. And this is a beautifully painted landscape with an inscription and signed by the artist. Estimated at 10 to 15,000 euros, 8,000 euro opening bid. Perfectly reasonable. And then this is something that's just a very attractive. It's 19th century, and it's a Famille Noire with Vert decoration of birds and with a pear-shaped vase. The vase is 16 inches tall, though. It's not a small vase. This is a good-sized vase. I believe that's the height. I'll double-check it in a second. But this is part of that class of wares that was so popular in the 19th century and was snapped up by collectors all over the West, because they thought they were all Kangxi period if they were in black. And we now know they weren't. They were, a lot of them, most of them, nearly all of them were made in the 19th century. But this was a very fine example. Nicely potted, well painted, and estimated quite reasonably at $1,000 to $1,500. It is this is 25 centimeters high. Excuse me, this isn't a great big one. This is a medium-sized one. That's right, because I looked at the estimate. I said the estimate looks awfully low. If I thought the estimate was a little higher than that. At any rate, it's about 10 inches tall, but a very sweet vase. Has a Kangxi mark on the bottom. Get it to load. But the foot rim and all that business looks absolutely fine as 19th century, but not 18th century. There's the base on it. There's the rain mark and all that business. but very nicely done. A lot of iridescence. This one, you could, when you hear people talking about Kangxi wares and talking about Femme Noir in particular, they often say, well, if it has the iridescence, it's Kangxi. Because Hobson said that back in the 1920s. I think it was Hobson that pushed that idea, because they didn't know that all of these were made in the 19th century and that the iridescence has nothing to do with the age. Nothing at all. All right, it's just an effect caused by the green glaze put over the black glaze. There's a slight tinge of a green glaze that's applied to the black enamel, and it causes it to iridesce, and that's all that really is. But this is a nice looking vase, very, very pretty. And then over to this, the cranes, pair of 19th century cranes. These are big. I think they were 52 centimeters tall or something. So about 4 feet tall. 19th century, but very fine quality on very nice bases. With they have brown enamel cloisonné rock bases. And then these beautifully mounted cup holders or candle holders on top. But really good pair. $1,500 to $2,500 estimate, which is certainly within the realm of possibility. They're 68 centimeters tall, excuse me. So they're roughly a little over 5 feet. These are big ones. They're bigger than I thought. I guess my memory's going on measurements these days. I don't know. But anyway, and you remember a few weeks ago, there was that fabulous pair of Qinlong tall cranes candlesticks that sold at the Getty sale, and they brought 1.3 million. They were Qinlong, of course, but these are awfully nice with an estimate that's 1% of what those brought. So if you kick on yourself because you couldn't come up with the 1.3 or 6 million to buy the ones at the Getty sale, here's another pair that are awfully nice for a fraction of the estimate, and these are big. These are 5 feet tall, so over 5 feet. So check those out. And then the paintings. There's some nice paintings in there. This is very unusual. It's a 19th century oil on canvas done in China. And it's obviously some sort of a court scene or at a public building. Lots of figures marching around with their looks like they're protesting something. Oh no, they're carrying somebody and they're announcing his arrival. And he's being carried in this sedan over here. But this is a good looking painting. I like the work on it a lot. I like the work. It has a very distinctly European feel to it, as you can see, but it's Chinese. And this very nice green frame, old frame, it looks original. Estimated at 1,000 to 1,500 euros, which seems very cheap to me. It measures 60 centimeters by 46 centimeters. So this is a big painting. It's 4.5 feet by almost 4 feet tall. So it's a big painting. Would make a room, and I think the price, the estimate is very low. If you like Chinese paintings and you like European art, here's a blend of Chinese painting with European, with a distinctly European feel to it. Almost, it looks like an Italian painting, but it's not. It's Chinese. All right, and then there's the painting that's signed by Hu Mei. Now, he's dated just as Qing Dynasty. Hu Mei was a late 17th century painter, quite famous. And this one is awfully well done, though, I have to say. It's beautifully done. It's obviously done in the manner of or the school of. If it's not actually by Hu Mei, I think Carlo, when they were cataloging this, said to be safe, let's just call it 19th century and not necessarily say it's by the artist, because it's, as everyone knows, it's a very tricky business doing this. You really need somebody who's an expert on this particular artist to be able to identify it as authentic or not. The estimate is just 2,000 to 3,000 euros with a 1,500 euro opening bid. Hu Mei's other works sell in the 20 to 40, $50,000 range. I think one of them brought $100,000. Well-known painter, but this one's awfully well done. It's awfully well done. You might want to do some investigating on this to double check, because if it's a period one, you got a bargain on your hands. And this was by Zhao Qin, and Zhao Qin is a very famous 20th century artist, and it does appear to be his work. This was a style that he did with the radiating sun coming up. One very similar to this one I think it was at Sotheby's, brought around about $50,000 or $70,000. He's got it estimated at 10 to 15,000, which is sort of the low range for this artist. It was painted in 1964, but is a heavily collected painter. I think if you go over to Sotheby's or Christie's, you're going to find probably 100 or more examples of his work on their past sales for this artist. A very influential painter. And this is sort of one of this particular painting is among his best as far as the styles that he's recognized for. Very, very attractive contemporary work. And then this is another neat painting. If you like Chinese paintings, this is painted on marble. And it is a very detailed scene. He's got it dated to the 19th century, which is when they did. If you've been in collecting for a while, you've probably owned or have seen soapstone paintings, or paintings done on soapstone and paintings done on marble in screens. Well, here's one that they did, and they framed it. And I like the scene a lot. There's a lot of antiques in the scene, a lot of good-looking paintings. On the right, there's a giant, looks like a late Ming vase with scrolls coming out of it. And they're all wearing these very elaborate headpieces. They're upper-class Chinese family, obviously. And this fellow's wearing a dragon robe. And over here, you have a pig bladder lantern. And they're playing mahjong, in case you're wondering. That's not Go, that's mahjong. And mahjong was a very popular game that came out of China, along with dominoes and other games. And here they are playing it. And they're seated in some very nice-looking chairs. There's a garden barrel, and there's a startled cat in the foreground, sort of looking up, wondering what's going on. And there is an artist's mark down here in the corner. And if you're a student of this stuff, you might be able to look him up. But at any rate, that's a nifty painting, and it's estimated at just $800 to $1,000, and it's a pretty big painting, 38 by 38, so it's around, what is that, about 18 by 18 inches, I guess, overall framed. It's estimated $800 to $1,000 with a $500 starting bid. And again, sort of European looking, but beautifully done. And then there's this painting by Li Yuan Chai. Another 20th century painter. He died in the 1990s, estimated at $5,000 to $8,000 with a $5,000 opening bid. And again, he's one of these, part of the abstract school of Chinese artists. It was painted in 1960, and it's titled Gusto. And his works bring anywhere from $5,000 to $8,000 as the estimate puts down, all the way up to $30,000 or $40,000. All right. And then lastly, there's this. There are other things that sell. There's quite a few bronzes. There's a nice Yuan Dynasty bronze in here. There's some seated 18th century bronzes and so forth. We'll run back to them real quickly. There's this very large Japanese painted pottery piece. It looks like it's almost made of wood, but it's not. It's pottery that's been given a brown dressing and then decorated. And this thing is big. It is 51, I think it said, centimeters tall. But very nicely done. If you're a Japanese buyer, you want to check this out. This is a really unusual piece. Nicely done with these heavy enamels. It looks like it's probably done during the Meiji period. Did he date it? He just said 19th century. It's 74 centimeters tall. All right, so that is just a hair under 6 feet tall. This is a very big piece of pottery. Really big. $800 euro opening bid, $800 to $1,200 estimate. If you live in Italy and you're looking for something fabulous that isn't going to cost you a lot of money, you want to go to this auction and buy that. That is a massive piece, and it will never grow old on you because it's so big. There's so much detail in it and so forth. I think it's great. And we'll just scroll through the sale here. Here's the rest of the snuff bottles. I'm going to hop over to page 3. I think that's where the bronzes start. Here they are. That's the Yuan Dynasty bronze, Sung to Yuan period, $1,000 to $1,500 estimate. It's 8 inches tall, very reasonable. And then you have this big seated figure, 57 centimeters. So this is over 4 feet tall with an $8,000 to $12,000 estimate. But Ming Dynasty, big one. And then there's this Tibetan gilt and turquoise inlaid piece, about 10 inches in diameter. And so forth. And then you have there's several of these large, 2 of them are dated, Chunlong seated bronze figures, $2,500 to $3,000, and in the past we've seen this form before. This type of bronze sell for $10,000 to $15,000. So again, I think his estimates are pretty reasonable. Some sung pieces and so forth. There's also blanc de Chine, and on and on and on. All right. So I won't go through the whole sale, but there's some nice things in here. You can bid online. Bid online through Carlo's website directly. I think they've got it set up for it. It'll make the transaction a lot easier and simpler because they'll have the records right there, and they won't have to go looking at their live auctioneer account to see what's going on if you ask a question. And you actually save the auction house a little bit of money, which isn't a bad thing either, because they don't have to pay live auctioneer the commission. And I haven't seen it yet on live auctioneers, but bid through their site. Do them a favor. All right. But I'm very pleased to see this. I know I'm going on a little bit because I like Carlo very, very much. And I've talked with him and Skyped with him. I've never met him in person, but we've communicated quite a bit over the years, and I consider him a friend. And if I have people I consider my friends, I like to wish them the best and do what I can for them, because this is a business, as many of you know, that's just fraught with a lot of troublesome auction houses. And there's some good ones, but there are some that are very troublesome. And I'd like to see Carlo be successful. All right, and he's worked hard on this. He's put together some good lots, and I really hope he does very, very well. All right, so get over there, check it out, get to know him. He's a good guy. He's very friendly, and I'm sure he's got good people around him. So there you are. Okay, give it a whirl, and we'll be back in a couple of days with some other videos. And everybody have a great week. All right, but if you're interested in this sale, do get on it, is because you've got 2 weeks to get condition reports and to get additional photos if you should need them, and to get shipping information. And he's going to be putting something. He didn't have anything on his site, and I told him he should add something to it about shipping. So I know they're working on it, and he has a shipper over there that you can work with that he said is very good. So you can get all the details from him through the contact us page, and get all that ironed out before the sale starts. That's the best way to do it. And get some estimates on handling and shipping and packaging and whatnot if you're not going to be in Milan. And if you're going to be in Milan, go. I'm hoping to get there next spring. My wife and I are planning to go over and visit him and visit some family members in Venice, because we haven't been over there in a few years due to COVID. And I need a dose of Italy, so we're going to go over there. All right, maybe we'll do some videos from there. That would be fun. All right. Have a great week, and see you all soon on Friday with the regular video. Okay, bye-bye.